How big? How big? How big? How big? How big is your God? You know, you put one more little, like, wholeness in there. How big is your good? How big is your God? How big is your good? How big is your God? How big is your good? How big is your God? Oh, that's a chant. We'll do it later. Yeah, and I'm not necessarily talking about size per se either. It's like, how big? You know, another way to ask it is like, okay, are you truly living your most exquisite, bodacious, bountiful, joy-filled, rich, authentic, abundant life that you can imagine or beyond your own imagination right here and right now? Yes. Okay. Anybody else that didn't say that want to? Yes. Yeah. So you can. And it's your divine birthright. It's your divine birthright that you do. And that you get to experience that. And you're entitled to it. And it's been here all along. Your entitlement to it. It's going to work out. Good. I'm not standing still. It's just here. And it's not really for a lack of abundance that you may not be experiencing. Yeah, well, there you go. Okay, Joe wants me to keep going, so I will. Okay, so this it may not be, for lack of anything, that you're not potentially experience this full and this rich, abundant life. It may be, however, that there's a lack of an awareness. It's just a lack of an awareness. And I don't mean sometimes conceptually all the time. I mean in moment, this lack of awareness of this ever-present reality, this divine substance. I like to call it the divine oceanic substance of life itself. It's an awareness in every moment. I had an awareness over there. It brought me to tears thanks to Alana singing the song. It's an awareness in this moment. It's an awareness as you're hearing the sound of my voice and soaking this up. And it's this awareness of what it is. And it's the faith, it's the absolute faith that I and you can manifest and shape this, whatever this substance is, into whatever form we want to, as long as it does not harm anyone or anything in the process. And in the belief that there is no thing to limit this form that we want to shape and mold it into. So as we're going to read in our book all month, it fundamentally comes down to how our life outpictures and how we get to experience what we want to our own understanding. It's our own individualized understanding and our awareness of this thing called God, this universal presence, this divine oceanic substance. My understanding of it, my experience of it, my connection with it and as it has definitely transpired, transformed, and changed in the 12 years since stepping into science, mind, faith, and philosophy. It's changed dramatically. I brought my Christian roots with me and then broke them wide open. so that those roots could serve me, so that my tree could expand so much more. So my understanding of this divine oceanic substance, God, Spirit, whatever you choose to call it, has really changed. And because it's changed the way that my life is out picturing and what I get to experience, it sure has changed a lot too. Sometimes my cheeks hurt. I smile so much. It is, Linda. I know that there's this direct correlation between this new understanding and what is going on in my life in every single moment. I know that sometimes my awareness is not present to what I know that it is, and then I bring my awareness to it right there again and again and again. And so I'm living a prosperous life. My definition and Emma Curtis Hopkins' definition is somewhat similar. Raymond Charles Barker's somewhat similar. Prosperous life for me means doing whatever I want to do, with whomever I want to do, whenever I want to do, wherever I want to do it. And enjoying that in every moment. There's this quote that I love, this New Thought pioneer and powerhouse, this quote, and she says that God is not a being with qualities or attributes. So it's not a being with quality and attributes. Sometimes we actually teach that this God has attributes. She's saying it doesn't. What she's saying is God is the good itself. It's just the good itself. The good itself, and what is coming out of this good itself and coming into expression is these things that we sometimes call qualities. So what comes into expression is wisdom and abundance and wholeness. She's saying that God is the good itself. It's the substance of all things. It's not the dispenser of this divine substance. It doesn't dispense it. Rather, God is this allness of this every-present substance in which everything lives and moves and has its being, as Ernest Holmes would say. So the word universe, if we look at the word universe, the literal meaning means the whole body of things. It's just the whole body. It's this whole substance. It's the whole thing. I call it the whole holy thing. There's nothing that's left out. That's lacking in it. Okay. I will. The whole of God is ever present, and it's ever present at every single point. I mean, every single point, at every single time, and every single space, like simultaneously. Just unbelievable freaking imaginable awesomeness, right? I have to remind myself of that. Like right where I'm standing right now and right where I'm standing over there when I travel somewhere outside of Dallas or whatever it is, or when I'm driving down the highway or I'm about to go into a meeting, you know, when things come up, I'm like, it's right here. It's right here. It's not over there. It's right here. And it's all around me. I'm like oozing in it and as it. This divine oceanic substance. And I have to continually remind myself and bring my awareness to this good stuff, as Emily Cady will say, right? And it's not some of it, it's absolutely all this divine oceanic substance. And it's here for each of us anytime there's a need, a want, or an idea. That there's a need or want about it for my life. I think that's where they get the saying, there's no spot where God is not. Is God in the spot that you're sitting? Yes. Is God in the spot that you are? Yes. Is God in the spot everywhere you go? Yes. Is God in the spot when you lay your head down on your pillow? Yes. Even if you sleep standing up, it's right there. So there's no place in all the universe where substance is any more present or any less present then right where you are. That's the first thing. And so there's no limitation to this divine substance. The only thing that can happen is we have a consciousness, an awareness that there might be some limitation. That's where we start tricking ourselves. And that's the slippery slope that we go down a road. And we can slide all over that road for as long as we want. Until we're back on that solid, conscious awareness ground. Like right now. How do we begin to shift a consciousness of limitation when whatever it is, I still don't know what it is, attempts to trick me? I don't say it's my mind. Maybe it is. It's a little M mind. Certainly not the one mind, the big M mind, that attempts to trick me. Because there's no truth to that. I'll just look this way. Is this my good side, Richard? So what if you truly believe that you lived in this divine oceanic substance all the time? You're just swimming in it, right? All the time. Nowhere that you go, you can't get out of it. It's so interesting how the one mind works. I actually was ahead of the game and knew what I wanted to talk about a few weeks ago. And then I saw Petra Wednesday night. She went and pulled a book off of our bookshelf, and she went to go do Wednesday night. So if you're there Wednesday night, here you go again. And I heard her. I was going down the hall, and I heard her read it. And I'm like, well, that's what I'm going to talk about on Sunday. And I love that. And it's one of her favorite readings. It's now become one of mine. It was in our book of the month of January. I'm bringing it back out again as well. And I just love this. And Ernest Holmes says, we can imagine a fish. We can imagine a fish being told that he or she is surrounded by water, but not quite realizing what this means. We can imagine such a fish swimming north, south, east, and west in search of water. If we think of this fish as a person, we can even imagine him or her looking up the books of fish lore, studying fish psychology and philosophy, always endeavoring to discover just where the waters of life are and how to approach them. Perhaps some wise old fish might say, quote, "It has come down to us through tradition that in ancient times our ancestors knew what a wonderful ocean of life, or they knew about a wonderful ocean of life. They prophesied a day when all shall live in the waters of life happily ever after, forever." And can't we imagine all the other fish getting together, rolling their eyes, wiggling their tails, looking wise and mysterious and beginning to chant, "Oh, water, 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 we beseech you to reveal yourself to us. Beseech you to flow around and through us, even as you did in the days of our revered ancestors." We're some silly fish, aren't we? Can a fish ever lack for water? It's supposed that the fish don't even know that they're in the water. I know that there's sometimes, not as much anymore for me after 12 years, but I sometimes forget I'm in the water. Or what the water is. So God is the goodness of itself. It's the substance of all things. And it's, again, it's not this dispenser, right? So we're to of the substance of the universe is present right here, right now, and that the ocean of God's substance is around us. We're swimming in it, right? No matter where we go, we can't get out of it. We're swimming in it. This substance of life is moving through us too. It's just coming through us. It's just coming through us. And this substance, if we're using this example of water, it's the vast majority of what we're made up of, so it is as us too. We can't get out of it. It is who we are. So let's just once and for all go, yes, I am this divine oceanic substance, and no matter where I go, there I am. I am. That I am. No matter where I go, there I am. It's everywhere present, and it's moving through me, and it's moving as me. So as we grow our awareness and hold on to this awareness and remember that we are each created in this substance, we formed of the substance, we are ceaselessly supported by this divine oceanic substance, then we can begin to declare for ourselves that I establish myself in the limitless oceanic divine substance and I live a prosperous life. So now that we got that understanding, then we can have this faith, to begin to have this faith to shape it, whatever it is, into manifest form. We get to choose how we shape it. We get to choose when we shape it, how we shape it, for what we shape it. Ernest Holmes tells us that through spiritual discernment, we see that we have within us a power that is greater than anything we shall ever contact, a power that can be overcome every obstacle in our experience and set us safe and satisfied. So through divine spiritual substance, we see that we have within us a power that is greater than anything we shall ever contact, a power that can overcome every obstacle in our life and set us safe and satisfied and at peace. White. Healed and prosperous in a new life. In a new life. So this creative power, this one mind, is here, right now, as each of us. And so we have as much power as this as we can believe that we have this power. And Napoleon Hill says that we are the master of our own destiny, and we can influence, and we can direct it, and we can control it. We can control our own environment. We can control our own environment, and we can make our life whatever it is we want it to be. Okay, that just seems like a really big thing. We can control our environment. Well, I've been testing this out for 12 years. Really? We can control our own environment? It doesn't matter what's happening around us? Okay, who started with the parking spaces? I call it rock star parking. We were in Boston, as many of you know, as of yesterday afternoon, and the last place we stopped was a bookstore with my niece and her husband, and it was cold and it was snowy and it was wet, and before we pulled up I said rock star parking, and just as we came down the street, a little car pulled out right across from the bookstore and we pulled right in. I said thank you. Those don't surprise me anymore, because I started 12 years ago with rock star parking. I remember the first time I flew on Southwest. The first class seat on Southwest Airlines for me, I'm giving them a plug now. The first class seat on Southwest Airlines is the bulkhead aisle front row, right? Anybody else like that seat? It's close to the bathroom. I get lots of leg room, all that good stuff. I remember the first time that back in the days where you couldn't do the priority seating kind of thing, back in the days, I got C24. But driving to the San Jose airport, I want that seat. I got that rock star parking right here, right now. I'm sitting on that aisle bulkhead. I want the extra leg room close to the bathroom. It's mine. C24. C24. There was a nice gentleman, I'll never forget it, on the window, and he had, actually, he was in the middle seat. This is bringing back memories right here, right now. His name is John Paul, 2 disciples. And he was in the middle seat. The only one in that thing, big black man. And he had a hat right in that seat, the aisle. And I'm C-24, and I get on the airplane. I'm like, is that seat taken? He said, no. I went, okay, it's mine. I could tell you more about that story. It was a very good conversation. He was a pastor, as it turned out. We had quite the conversation on that flight. I was new into science mind. Weather. I've been playing with weather, And so, as you know, Friday night, I wasn't looking ahead. I just live and enjoy the moment. Friday night, we had seen as we were driving in from New Hampshire back into the city of Boston, we saw all these signs, weather advisory in the morning, be ready, be prepared. And we're like, oh, is there something going on in the morning? Because I wasn't checking the weather. We get into Boston, I thought, better check the weather. Then I got American Airlines notices like, you can change your flight with no change it fee, because we're probably not getting out of Boston tomorrow. It's like, wow. Well, no, I want to be back here Sunday morning. There's just no ifs, ands, buts about it. I am here in the warmth of the sanctuary. So I didn't care what the weather report was. I'm like, we are getting on that 5:42 p.m. flight. No ifs, ands, buts about it. And that's all I saw. That's all I knew is my experience. I thank every single one of you that saw that little video we put out to say, please hold that mental equivalent. And TSRW, this stuff really works. We can direct and control anything that we want in this divine oceanic substance. And so I would check throughout the day, but it wasn't checking for doubt. I just like to play with it and go, yep, there it is, leaving on time. Yep, there it is, leaving on time. I don't go, is it leaving on time? I didn't once do that. It was like leaving on time, leaving on time, leaving on time. It's like this, as I remember, that is this divine oceanic substance. And it's everywhere. There's not a place where it's not. There's not a place where I can go. There's not a thought. There are thoughts, but there's not a thought that I can, have and want. And then add emotion to it. Like the joy of standing here today with you. It was a 48-hour trip, up and back. Using miles even. That there is nothing. I have the faith about molding and forming this divine oceanic substance. I remember in the summer, there was a whole week of weather. I'm just using weather because that might be your growing edge too. We gotta play with this substance, this Play-Doh. There was a whole week of bad weather in Switzerland. And we had reservations. We had made them for over 6 months in advance. And it was a week. They had had beautiful weather before and after, and here was a week of just torrential downpour. At some point, Peter said, well, maybe we should think about going somewhere else. And I'm like, no, I want to go to Interlaken. I haven't spent time in Interlaken. I'm like, this weather is not that. It's nice weather. It's beautiful weather. We're going to have the whole 5 days in Switzerland. We are enjoying it. We're going out hiking. I don't know where it went. I don't care. At the end of one hike, we got a few raindrops on our head. That was it for 5 days. If I can do this, you can. If I can take the classes and put this into practice, you can. So sometimes things do blow my mind. Just want you to know. Ernest Holmes says, our belief sets the limit to our demonstration of a principle which, of itself, is without limit. So the principle doesn't have limit, but we at times put a limit on it. It is ready to fill everything because it is infinite. So it is not a question of its willingness, nor of its ability. So it's willing and it's able all the time. It is entirely a question of our own receptivity. So it is up to me. I'm the only one that can do this. It is up to me to establish within me a belief that there is no limit to my good. There is no limit to my good. And the more that I have grown my belief that there is no limit to my good, the good keeps growing. It keeps expanding. It keeps happening more and more on more occasions. All the time. Both individually for someone else, when I do a spiritual mind treatment for someone else, and for the collective, all of you. It's the same thing. And as my belief continues to grow, wherever we are, that belief can grow some more. Open wide. More and more. So, this latest example did blow my mind. Is it okay if I share it with you? So 2 years ago, Peter and I sat down and sort of started looking, what is it that we want? And at some point it was like, well, I'd like to have a piece of property that we could, go and build a second home. And whenever we wanted to go to, we're blessed that we get to experience that thanks to other people in our life. And it was like, well, what if we did that too? What if we had that too? And 2 years ago we started, tuning into what would that look like? What would we want? And so we got pretty clear. We're like, well, we want water, we want mountains, and we want trees. And we want to be somewhere in the Northeast. Not to go, live. So don't worry. We're here in Dallas. Okay, let's be clear. This is like a second place. And so either the Northwest or the Northeast. Northeast, Northwest. And we started honing it down, and we don't want to have a place where we can see all our neighbors. We don't want that. And we started thinking about, what about 5, 6, 10 acres, whatever. We went through the whole process and we'd have to keep up with all that. And what happens if one of us falls? And are we going to know? We went through all this. We're like, well, 1 to 3 acres, blah, blah, blah. We got pretty clear. And I started to look on Zillow for property. I started saving some. And they were like, okay, well, let's just keep narrowing it down so we know where to go fly and go look at property one weekend. Or our weekends, not Sunday. So anyway, last summer we went to Geneva to help the CSL International Convention, where all these ministers and practitioners came in, and we were of service to that. And it was the second time Peter was of service to this particular conference in Geneva. And it just so happened at lunch, that we talked to a minister that was putting that on, that had this Geneva Center, and we just said, yeah, we're going to get some property somewhere. Okay, one little conversation. Just so happened that minister came here for the CSL ministers gathering last October, and she went up to Petra out of the blue and went up to Petra and said, you know what? My husband and I, we've been talking. We want to gift you a piece of property. Now, when it comes, what do you think Petra said? She said yes. She didn't ask, what is it, where is it, whatever. Really, I think she might have said it was in Vermont when she said, we have this lot, this little lot. She said, this little lot in Vermont, and we want to gift you with a piece of property. The first thing out of Peter's mouth, thank God, was yes. And then it was like, okay, what, then we had one little conversation. We barely know this person. She's a colleague. Fast forward, we start looking at it, and then it was like, well, how should one, give us a piece of property? We asked a friend, real estate friend, he said, well, just quit claim deed. While we were out of town in New Zealand with community members, the quit claim deed arrived in our mailbox. We own a piece of property. Okay, One could say this is bigger than a C-24 bulkhead aisle front row of Southwest, or we could say it's not. How big is our good? So we decided, well, we got to see if we want to use the property or sell the property. We just said yes. When the universe is wanting to give you something, sometimes we go, no, thank you. Oh, I can't take that. No, it's all right. You keep it. And so we flew up there to Boston. We wanted to be at least 2 hours within a major city so we could go have fun in the city whenever we want. It's in the Northeast. Come to find out, it's an acre in a development. And we know it's going to percolate and all that because there are houses everywhere. It's on a, not literally, but it's in a thing of a 422-acre lake. It's within an hour of the Green Mountains, 2 hours of the White Mountains. I mean, mountains everywhere. And the nicest couple met us. She cried on the property. That indicates, I think we're going to use it. And it's just like, I'm so grateful. And so now, how big is my good? How big is my God? It just grew. It just grew because I went, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This is what I want for every single person in this community. I will serve you to the nth degree to ensure that this is what it is for you. I mean it. It's just like, oh my gosh. So I continue to work on my beliefs so they're not limited to the good that I can receive. So that they're not limited to the good that you can receive. So that they're not limited to the good that this community can receive. So the only thing that limits it is our own beliefs. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. So it doesn't matter where we are. This container that we have of this divine oceanic substance, it doesn't matter. There is no big or small as God, as our good. I'm representing a water glass. This divine oceanic substance is here, right? As water glass. It doesn't matter. As we use and put these principles, spiritual principles into our life, then and all of a sudden our good looks like a swimming pool. And does it stop there? No. Your good can be even. It already is so much bigger than that. What's behind the swimming pool? The ocean. The ocean. What's behind the ocean? More ocean. This divine oceanic substance that has no edge to it. That everywhere I go, there it is. Everywhere, every spot, simultaneously, there it is. Everywhere you go, there it is. You know, Jesus said, give us this day our daily bread. And he told his followers that they would receive as much bread as they expected. I expected to be home. There was no ifs, ands, buts about it. Did I have a backup plan? Yeah, I called Michael Grundy. But I expected to be home, right? He told his followers that they could receive as much of this bread, this daily bread, as they could believe and they could expect. But he never ever said what the size of the loaf was, and he never said how many loaves there were. We're swimming in this divine oceanic substance. So now, no matter where we are, we can grow. This good, this God, that which we're aware of, can get bigger and more substance and experience in our life. It's our awareness of this ever-present reality, this divine oceanic substance. It's our faith that we can shape it, that we can manifest its form, and that and then it's the belief that nothing can limit it, because it's limitless. Our good is limitless. God said yes. I love it. It's been here all along, and we're swimming in it. We're consciously swimming in it. We're consciously swimming as it. So let's consciously bring our good. Are y'all ready? You want that? You want more good? Good in your life? Okay, I got to be sure. I can't pray for it if you don't want it. So let's bring some more good into our life. That good can look like any form you want, as long as it does not harm anyone or anything. So I invite us to go within. Tap into this divine oceanic substance. Know it. Feel it. If you're kinesthetic like me, stretch your arms. Don't hit your neighbor because you got your eyes closed, but just feel it. Imagine you're sitting with me on a rock at the edge of the ocean, and you're looking out, and all you see is water. Now know that divine oceanic substance that is visually representing water is also surrounding you. You can't drown. You're a fish. You can't get out of it. All it wants to do is give to itself unabashedly, fully, freely, magnificently. And so open wide. Feel the water in your body come alive, because it's the same substance. Waking up. The water in every cell of your body. So right here and right now, knowing this divine oceanic substance, if there is any thought or any physicality that is saying not whole, no. I speak the word by the power and the authority of the one mind, the Christ consciousness, that which is that this divine oceanic substance known as the cells in every single person in this sanctuary and the sound of my voice is illuminated, is alive, is healthy, is rich with life. I declare and claim that there is any thought of lack of this energetic known as currency, the current of life known as money. There is more than enough, just like enough air and enough water to experience right here and right now. So if there is any lack and limitation in any person's life, in the sound of this voice, it is gone. It does not matter where it comes from. I need not know how, but it is here. They are sustained with more than enough of the good life. If there's anyone here in the sound of my voice that is seeking and wanting to swim in great work, around awesome people where they are compensated well and they're honored and respected. I know that that is here right now. They're swimming in this thing called good work, service to life itself. And as we give it all, no matter what it is, away, it comes back to us exponentially. I know that there is more support. I declare that everyone is swimming in support. Whether they're recovering from a surgery, whether they're home sick in bed with a cold, there's chicken soup for all. And so, knowing that life is good, we open up to the good and we receive our good. I call it good. I know it is so. I am so grateful to know that this divine substance is here and right now. I release it. These words. Give us this day our daily bread. The bread is here. I call it good. I call it God. It's the same stuff. I'm so grateful to know this. And so it is.